Good evening, LG, and welcome to Hockey Night in LG. We have a loaded show today. We have Birthday Machine coming on for the show. Should be exciting to hear him speak on the different things about the league, about the playoffs, and everything. I'm very excited about having him on the show. Um, just to give a little brief overview about what this show is and what makes it different from my other show is that this show is going to be I'm planning for this show to be about everything in the future, where the last show is everything about what just happened in that previous week. I also want to add something to this show called where people get to call in and message me via PM on LG, their email account, and I will add them to the call. So just to read the thread, if you didn't have a chance to read the thread, it says, okay, I'll be your host. It'll be similar to LGCHLPSN this week, but instead of talking about the past, we talk about future and upcoming games of that week. It's kind of like a pregame show before the games start on Sunday. Included in this will be call-ins from the people. The theory of this is not for a caller to go on forever, but to have an opinion about something being talked about, etc. In order to do so, during the talk show, send me messages via PM with your email address and PSN, who you play for. The Google Hangouts is needed, so you're going to have to be on Google Hangouts. And I'll add you on as a caller, and it'll be no more than approximately 2 to 5 minutes a caller. This is a beta run to see how interesting we can make this show. And if it works, I'll add it to my weekly calendar. And if it doesn't work, this will probably be the last time you see it. To start off, I apologize to all of Kingston. Evidently, something's got into all of Kingston today to make them step up and chirp about something that they're not even deciding to step up and do. So it's interesting to see them chirping all day. So that's cool. I appreciate it. The comments are good. If me sitting on the floor offends anybody, I apologize. But it puts me eye level with the camera. But without further ado, our first guest is Birthday Machine. He is a myth. He's the man. He's the legend. Birthday Machine. I'm about to add him to the call right quick. If you want to stream in on my inbox right now, just so we can be ahead of the game and get your emails up, so I can add you to the call in a much better flow. Let me get this email real quick. You can go ahead and do that. Please keep it respectful and on topic. Make it relevant to what we're talking about. So it's just not, it's not immature at all. I'm not trying to make this immature. And this is awesome that he decided to come on. Just invite him to the call, so hopefully he'll join in on Hockey Night in LG. But for the viewers that are out there, I appreciate you stopping by and getting a nice pregame show. Just waiting for Rob to get in the call here. I hear him. Hey, Rob, can you hear me?
Yeah. Yeah, you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Thank you for coming on. I appreciate you taking your time out.
Yeah, no problem. No camera.
Okay.
Oh, well. I guess
That's
you can't
fine.
see me.
We have your nice picture though.
Face, yeah.
Yeah, your nice smiling face. So to get this interview started, it's very important that you come on, especially with 2 weeks to go, and you posted the rules out. I believe it was yesterday.
Yeah, I
So
think it was you that told me like the rules aren't even up yet.
so just get over to this thread. I was listening to AHL this week last night, and they were mentioning a couple of teams that actually got in trouble for not following the rules. It cost them some wins. So can you please put because I know I was in a conversation with somebody, and I was telling them word for word what the rules were saying, and the guy I was talking to was like, "What?" So to put in layman terms, can you please explain these rules in its entirety?
Well, you want layman terms or you want its entirety? I'll give you a really good metaphor that I use, all right? Because it's the scheduling restrictions that are really fun and cool and for some teams hard to understand when you get into the playoffs. So you got your roster, your 17-man roster, right? It's playoff time. I'm going to give you all 2 tickets to ride on the merry-go-round. So everybody on the team, except for goalies, but everybody gets 2 tickets to ride on the merry-go-round. And so you go for a ride. You give me a ticket. I take your ticket. We have a great time. A couple spins on the horse.
Mm-hmm.
You've got to use up 1 ticket by game 4 and both tickets by game 6, right?
Okay.
This is for a roster player. If the roster player can't show up, one of the other players can take his place, or he can give his ticket to a guy on the training camp, right?
Yep.
So basically, you got to either play 1 and 4, or you got to let someone ECU for you. Basically, you have to be scheduled and then ECU'd out. Use that ticket.
Okay, so if I understand you correctly, if you're a roster player, you're at least gonna have to play 1 game in the 1 through 4.
Yeah, 1 and 4 and 2 and 6.
And if not, you have to get an ECU to replace you.
Exactly.
Okay, tracking. And the same goes for the goalies?
Goalies are different. Goalies still have to do 1 and 4.
Okay.
And 2 and 6. The special difference, though, is other than filling those minimum requirements, goalies can play the rest of the games, right? Like you could have a single goalie play game 1, 2, and 3. You get your backup goalie play game 4, and so on. So goalies, their max is a little bit higher because a normal player, you only get 2 tickets, right? Only 2 games by game 6.
Mm-hmm.
So what's really fun though is you've got 3 lines of players on your team. You could essentially play your first line in games 1 and 2, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's so much fun, so much line matching and the timelines for getting your lines put in, the home ice advantage.
Yes, the strategic advantage is huge.
Man, it is great. It is just GM's field day.
And the depth is really going to come into play too, with the depth at goalie and skater. So it's going to be really exciting.
Yeah.
Go on about. Can we talk about the TCs as well? Like, okay, so if I'm a TC player, if Mr. Matt's a TC player, what can I expect in the playoffs exactly? Like, my team needs me. What goes for me as a TC player, if that makes sense?
What goes for you?
Yeah.
The only thing I will say is that you only get 1 game per series for being on the TC.
Okay. So 1 game a series on the TC.
Yeah, teams are only eligible to use a player once per series as an ECU. So up to 4 games if you ride the TC the whole way.
Okay. So there's no, because I read somewhere, but I might have read it wrong. But so like if I'm a TC guy and they put me in as a TC, can they essentially in game 1 use nothing but TCs? Or can there only be like
if they
1
were
TC?
insane, yeah.
Okay, because I thought I read somewhere where it was saying as a TC guy, you can only play 1 TC in that game. You can't just fill your roster with TC players.
You're absolutely right. What was I saying?
So that is correct though. So like if I'm a right wing TC and they put me in, they can't then play a lefty TC, correct? He's got to be a roster player.
A roster player, yeah, right. Each team is only allowed to make 1 CHL substitution per game. CHL sub is an ECU.
Okay, so yeah, that's what I thought I read, but I think I was in a party earlier and they were saying something different, so I just wanted to clarify with you. Additionally, I know that that there was a rumor going around in the CHL that all 16 teams was going to be in the playoffs. What went into the league's think process to make it the top 8?
Okay, well, I originally actually was arguing for all 16, and Haji, who is the big head, the CHL, or sorry, not CHL, the LGP, is, because you know what, it makes a playoff race. That's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
And it weeds out the basement teams. And not to say that they're bad teams, but by keeping only the top 8, we're definitely getting things a little more trim, if that makes sense.
Yes, it does. I like the move. I like the move to 8 teams for sure, because now, I mean, coming down to the final, 2 weeks here, we have 8th place Kingston with 59 points, Kitchener with 58 in 9th, Niagara has 57, Erie has 56. So, I mean, it turns to, oh, we're good. We're just gonna have a hard draw. To holy shit, we need to make these
Yeah,
points.
the race is so much fun.
Oh man, that's like the funnest part to me. Just looking at these different teams scratching and crawling and in the chat box saying, oh, this is gonna be a grind. We need these 2 points. So,
just to loop back, sorry, to something that I said earlier.
mhm.
The rule is each team is only allowed to make 1 CHL substitution per game. CHL substitution is switching for a roster player.
Okay.
So you could then, if I'm understanding this right, you could put all TC players into a game. What you can't do is swap out one line for another of roster players. You could switch a single roster player in a game once you posted the lines.
Okay. So if I'm on the first line, then they can swap that whole first line with TCs. They just cannot swap it with another line.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. Then that makes sense then.
It shouldn't be that hard either, because you've got, I think it's 3 hours before game time to post your lines. Like, it's tight enough that it shouldn't be a big surprise that someone can't show up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, seriously. And why would I'm losing my train of thought here because I'm reading as I'm talking. But who wouldn't be able to show up in the playoffs? That's what I was going to say. Who wouldn't want to, show up for their team? So I don't really see that.
Have you managed a team before? Man, people are the worst. When you try to put together a game night, your game is at 9 o'clock and it's 8:58, and you got 3 guys who still haven't come online. You're cursing them. I do not miss that, man.
I couldn't imagine. I haven't had that the honor of owning a team, so
game
I guess
night
we'll
is
see.
So stressful. I could not go back to that.
Yeah, can you imagine up or down in a series 2-3 and your guys don't show up?
It happens.
Oh my god, I could not imagine.
And that's where the real fun of playoffs happens, right? Because scheduling restrictions are so tight.
Yes.
Am I going to throw in my good training camp player today because this guy can't show up, or do I hope that maybe he'll come on in 2 minutes and I can use someone else? It's the best. We're going to have a great time.
I think so. And while I get this first caller in, I do have a question. I think this is going off the script a little bit, but out of the 8th through 11th teams, who do you see getting that final spot?
Let me look at the teams. Throwing curveballs at me.
I know. I apologize.
Frontenacs, Rangers, Ice Dogs, Otters, Firebirds.
I think.
Can the Rangers pull it together?
I don't know. I don't trust the Rangers.
Way up there all season. I can't say that I've been following the standings so closely and know every player.
Mm-hmm.
But the Rangers, they were sitting around 2, 3, 4 for quite a while, right? For the first good half of the season.
Yes, yeah, they were. They're kind of falling apart, though.
Yeah,
falling apart at the seams.
I like all those teams, though. Firebirds, I know, have really good management.
Yes, I like the Firebirds. The Firebirds are really, really nice, but they're in 12th. They're going to really have to make up some ground here.
It's probably too many points. They're 10
Possibly.
points back from 9th.
They're definitely going to need some help to get in. My pick to get that 8th spot is the Niagara Ice Dogs. I truly think the Niagara Ice Dogs will get that 8th spot.
Apparitions team?
Yes.
Talk about Apparition? There's no way.
I think so.
I barely know the guy. I just like to pick on him.
I like the Ice Dogs. I think they're catching fire at the right time. So I think, and I've watched a couple of Niagara's games, and I think out of all those teams that are up there,
they're Hunger Games catching fire.
Yeah.
Do you think Niagara Ice Dogs are Mockingjay Part 2? You might be right.
But we're waiting on the first caller to come in right now. Let me see if we can think of any more questions. Because I know I wanted to keep on the playoffs and keep on the rules. Did the league recycle these rules from the Xbox, or did they
100%.
make them?
I copied and I pasted, and I think couple of small corrections, but this is essentially the Xbox rules, the CHL ones.
Right. Since I have you in here and you're this is another curveball and you're probably gonna hate me later and tell everybody that I'm horrible. Another rumor that I've heard is an expansion for the CHL for next season. Can you speak on that, or is it too early?
The numbers are there for sure.
Nice. So we're not
at the start of the season. I think I'm going off memory, so do quote me, but I think they said 12, 14, 16, or 30 teams, and it was basically how many owners can I find, and how many players could support it. Right. So that's just another conversation we'll have next season, in the off season.
Mm-hmm.
It's less about player base. It's more about how many good owners can we put in. I think of the guys that we chose, 90% of the guys have been awesome owners, absolutely phenomenal. I'm so happy with them. But what I'm not willing to do is put in just some person I've never spoken to or someone with a bad reputation as an owner. Because when a team falls apart, it's bad for everybody, right?
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, just look at what happened to Wealth.
Well, their second owner stepped down just today.
Wow. So what's the guidelines? You know, if anybody's watching and they're interested in being an owner, what gets Birthday Machines to tick? Like, what really does Birthday to look for in a guy that's trying to be an owner?
Well, really, we will put up probably a thread just to apply for ownership. What I like to see is someone who can read and write. Is important. The literacy rates for the league in general, I think, are pretty low. But we did interviews last season, and it was just we'd spend 10 minutes in a party, we'd talk to the guys, we had kind of a loose couple questions that we would ask, but mostly it was just hanging out and getting a feel for the person and hoping that they're the right kind of person. Things that can disqualify get right off the bat are if they've been banned or received any kind of serious sanctions last season. You know, guys who always come up in the chat box and just running their mouths and not acting in the way that you'd want an owner to act, right?
Okay, so Birthday Machine keeps notes of all the trolls in the chat box throughout the season. Nice. Yeah, because I'm actually getting trolled today, in fact. So
were they being mean to you?
Yeah, they are.
Well, you can always leave. So.
Yeah. Do I offend you by sitting on the floor when I do my shows?
Are you sitting on the floor right now?
I'm sitting on the floor right now, right in front of my TV.
Are you cross-legged? Are you leaning back? I'd like to.
I think I'm sitting up on the computer a little bit. You know, I got my legs. I do got my legs like in a crisscross fashion. You know.
Well, I think that's answered all questions that anyone will ever want to know about how you sit.
So yeah.
Let's just move on from that and maybe never mention it again.
Yeah. So I think the only guy that was wanting to call in with you is not answering the phone. So you might get off easy, Birthday Machine.
All right.
So I think that answers all my questions. Is there anything that you want the league to know about the playoffs?
What do I want them to know is to understand those scheduling restrictions. Because I think you brought it up earlier last season. There are a couple of AHL teams, including my own team, Utica Comets, who ended up losing out of the playoffs because of the scheduling restrictions, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So
I wasn't even tracking that until I watched the show yesterday. And
yeah, so you just got to know, as a roster player, a skater especially, you've got 2 tickets, and no more than 2 tickets. You got to use 1 and 4, 2 and 6, and that's about the end of it.
So this actually leads to going, because I always hear, oh, you can get in trouble. What exactly are the ramifications if you play a skater that can't be played? What are exactly?
Game gets overturned.
Okay, well, that's pretty flat. There you have it.
Yeah.
You know, game gets overturned, and in a game 6 elimination game, you're going to need that.
Yeah, you know what? Last season, the Providence Bruins, the rules that they broke, they had actually, I believe, eliminated a team. The game got overturned because they didn't follow the restrictions. I think they had 9 cases of players who played more than their limit. So the game got overturned. It forces a game 7. The team that won that game 7, Hartford, ends up winning the Calder Cup.
Damn.
So this is a team. You know what? You follow the rules, things can work out for you. If you cheat and we catch you, well, what other choice do we have, right?
Yeah. Dang. That's heartbreaking. That is seriously
It's a
heartbreaking.
good story though. I love it.
Yeah, it is. Um, it is heartbreaking a little bit. So the caller is saying that he's not receiving any calls, but I'm calling him. So let's give this guy a couple seconds because he really wants to talk to you, birthday. So let's give him one more call and see if he comes. Sean Glade is his name. Let's see if he comes on. But interesting. So in the meantime, while we're waiting for this guy, if he ever does come, tell us a little bit about Birthday Machine. Who is Birthday Machine?
Okay, the history of me.
Mm-hmm.
I started out in a VHL. I want to say it was like 3 years ago. The now defunct VHL.
Mm-hmm.
I came on season 1 as a CHL. What would be a CHL owner? It was a CHL GM back then.
Mm-hmm.
I did 2 seasons of that. So you know what? Like day 1, I hadn't played a day of league, and I'm a GM. Just jumped right into it with both feet because I knew some guys on Xbox, the owner of the NHL team,
Mm-hmm.
and I just went full force. I did 2 seasons of that. It was fun. It was hell. My wife absolutely hated it. Uh, then I think my 3rd season I became a member of staff at BOG. By the end of that season, through weird circumstances, I ended up as like the head commish, like at the very top of the league, a position I wanted no part of. Right? These are guys on Xbox. They were in season 12 or 13 by then. These guys intimidated me so much. They knew so much, and I'm just trying to get by, just trying to not screw up too badly. And I've always kind of carried that same feeling that I don't want to be making these big decisions. It does not make me happy or give me any sense of power.
Mm-hmm.
It's a constant terror of screwing up, and I think that's what keeps me in check.
Even today, when you're a pretty good bog with some experience on your belt, even the fear of
You need it.
screwing up.
You need to be afraid of it. Every morning when I wake up, I see I've got 15, 20 PMs. I say, I hope to God I didn't make some mistake and people are now all freaking out because it could happen. I have access to really powerful tools, and if I click the wrong button, things could go really bad.
Yeah, I could just imagine.
I have no desire for any of this power, but it's just I guess a sense of duty that I like to get things done and organized and done right.
Mm-hmm. Wow. I couldn't imagine. I'm not going to rain too much on that parade because, if I'm not mistaken, you do have an upcoming show with T-Sips, correct? With in
Yeah,
the life of a bog.
Bog's life.
So I don't want to ruin that show too much and give too much information about you and
Oh,
what you go through.
I got a whole list of things that I haven't even given you that I'm saving for this show.
Nice. He does put on phenomenal shows. He actually inspired me to start this in the CHL. So great,
You keep at
great
it, maybe
person.
someday you'll get a chair like him.
Yeah, maybe one day I can work it in my budget to get a chair and set my laptop up and everything. I think he works off a desktop, so that's a little bit of a difference. I work off a laptop, so it's portable. I don't really have an office chair, so I think that's what's holding me back. Maybe I just need to. I don't know, but okay, so this guy's not coming in. I guess we're having some bit of an issue to get him in here, but it was great having you on the show. I hope you had fun. I hope I didn't go off script too much.
No, it's good. Ask me any questions. I'm always here to answer them.
Yeah, I feel like you're ready for it.
All right.
But it was great talking to you.
Amen.
Bye. So there you have it. That was the bog. That was the bog right there. Birthday Machine. Um, Creating some insights onto how exactly the playoffs are going to go with the different rules. Because it's very important, like I was saying in the interview, and just like he said with the Providence Bruins, you know, the rules are important, and it can cost you a series, just like it cost the Utica Comets and it cost the Providence Bruins up in the AHL. So I encourage. I'm sure you've already done it, and I'm sure all the GMs and owners and AGMs are on top of it. But I definitely encourage everyone to look at those rules, study those rules, and get to know those rules with 2 weeks to go. Even players, because as a player, you can even make an impact because you might know something that your GM might have overread and, didn't quite read that part in it. And if he goes to put you in a game, you could even be like, hey, no, GM, I already played my game today. Or, I already played my game. I played in game 1, and he'd be like, oh, that's right. Okay. And you might have saved that series for your team. So the next guy I have in the shoots, I'm waiting for his email to come up. It's going to be it's Gally is the GM that I'm going to be speaking to because I think he's a very interesting guy. He's got a very interesting team. Made a lot of trades, was 12th in the league, if I'm not mistaken. And really hitting the bottom of the bucket. And now all of a sudden they made trades. They went 8-1. They went 8-1 last week. And they knocked off some pretty good teams. I know I played in an ass whooping that I personally probably contributed to because I did not play very well, but I'm about to get him in the call right quick. The same rules apply. If you have any questions for Gally as a GM or anything, drop me a PM in my inbox on LG with your email, and make sure you have Google Hangouts up so the call goes through. I'm not really sure why my last call-in did not go through. But yeah, we were having an issue getting him in. I do apologize to him because I'm sure it was a good question that you had to ask. But I'm calling Gally right now. In the meantime, while he's getting in, I do have some news. I looked up. I as everyone knows in the league, Ottawa 67s have been making a lot of moves. To me, they were questionable moves. I was looking at some of the trades they were making, and I was surprised at the moves that they were making. So me and Gatineau got together, and I asked him to give me the reasonings behind some of the trades that Ottawa was making for the league to know. They're on fire, 20-game winning streak, or it might be 19, but I do know they're like 44, 11-1. Miles ahead every team in the league. So I just added Gally to the Hangout, but he's not showing up. Let me get him in. I apologize. I'm gonna recall him real quick. Give me a second, guys. I apologize. But anyway, so I talked to Gatineau. We're just gonna hit it real quick before Gally gets in the call, if he does get in the call. But in the meantime, we're gonna talk before he gets in here. So anyway, Gatineau messaged me, and I think this is very interesting for the people to get an inside look on Ottawa 67s and why they made the trades that they did right before the trade deadline. Here's Gally right now. So we'll get back to it after Gally. What's up, Gally? How are you?
Hi, good. How you doing?
Good. So I'm glad you were able to get in. I guess we're having a little bit of an issue with your buddy, Dragon Slayer. He couldn't get in the call with Birthday Machine. But did you enjoy that interview with Birthday Machine? Did you get any information, any clarification or anything, or do you think that it was useful or helpful to the league?
Well, I just caught the end of it.
Oh, okay.
But you know, I already, you know, most people know my opinion. I already think Birthday is the best out of all the bogs out there. He's the only one who's actually helped me, other than Vile Bowie, I think, is the only other one. But yeah, he's always like today. He took 10 or 20 minutes and just sat there and had a list of like 3 or 4 things I had to get figured out with him, or with like the bogs, and he just he messaged me on Skype, and we just figured them all out right in a row in like 10 or 20 minutes and got everything out of the way. And then he's like, all right, I got 60 other things I got to do, so I better go do those. But it was good of him to take that time like just with me and do that.
So I'm looking at your team, you know, and I feel like y'all are one of the most interesting teams in the league right now with all the moves that y'all have been making. Can you run me down, just like with Gatineau with the 6-7s that we'll be getting to shortly, the thought process with you and Stamkos and your AGM, exactly what provoked you to make these moves, just going down the list? Can you hear me?
Yep.
Oh, okay. So yeah, just run me through the different trades that this thing has made in the past. If y'all made so many moves, so we can just start with the 17th. So from the 17th, exactly, like the move for SG Dragon Slayer and Dragon Soul 69. You traded to from the Firebirds. Y'all got them in a trade for Kurt Ball 23 and Black Pearl 117. What was the thought process behind that move? Exactly what provoked you to make that move for Dragon Slayer and Dragon Skull?
That was, well, I mean, we had our goalie. Well, we had 2 of our goalies, Bali 91 and Frank Sinatra, got removed. So you know, we had to find a goalie. We got Sick in the Head, who's been incredible for us, but we didn't have a second goalie in case, you know, Frank's appeal didn't go through or something like that, and we didn't want to get stuck. So I traded. We had lots of forwards on our TC, so I traded a couple of them to pick up a couple of goalies that I knew were solid and could come in and play if the opportunity came up where we you know, we're short a goalie.
I mentioned this move on the power rankings and about how much of an impact this guy has made for your squad. Craven A27, you got him from the London Knights before last week. Can you tell me a little bit about what exactly impact has Craven made to the Sarnia's team?
Yeah, honestly, if you look at it, our past week, the trades we made before this past week that we just had are probably more important, or the most important so far. We haven't seen the impact of the ones we made this weekend, but yeah, we picked up Craven for John Shadow, Price, and Golbez. I'd been trying to get Craven for 2 to 3 weeks, maybe longer, and finally, he had a bit of a rough week the week before we traded for him, so it worked out to my advantage. London wanted to trade him, so but he's been, you know, he's been the games he's played for us. He said himself he was a little nervous, but it was his first week with us, and I just told him, like, I mean, just there's no reason, there's nothing to be nervous about. You just play, and even though he was nervous, he made some passes, you know, a couple turnovers, but really he's overall, I mean, he went 3-0. He was 3-0 this week with our team, so I mean, he was part of that. You know, we won as a team, but he was part of that. It wasn't like, you know, he cost us a bunch of games. We won, and that's really what matters. So that was important. Other than that, a couple other ones like
what has been the biggest impact? What trade has probably where you look at that trade and it's like, wow, that was the best trade I've made in all the movement with Sarnia? What trade really gets you going?
Well, there's. I was just gonna say that there's actually three because so the first one is on the 10th. So we trade Tech Nine to Owen Sound
Uh-huh.
for Thibodeau D drops and the Killer J. Well, you can see the Killer J is on our roster. Last week he
Mm-hmm.
played. We went 3-0 with him. He's on my line,
Mm-hmm.
playing center for us. And we made a trade today to make room for him to keep him on the roster full time, just because he was 2-0 the week before. We got him with Owen Sound. He got in the weekly power rankings or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I picked him up, and it's just been like, I'm glad I did. Like it's been a kind of a rewarding trade. The other one, a couple on the 12th, we picked up Godmer from Ottawa for another forward. They had him on waivers, but he was a prospect contract, so I sent the guy Ottawa a message and made a trade, and then he came off waivers because prospect contract players don't have to go on waivers or whatever to be sent down.
Mm-hmm.
So, anyways, I played some games with him, drop-ins and stuff, and I was like, wow, he's good. So we had an open left wing spot on my line. So,
Mm-hmm.
so I called him up. He was great. We worked great this week. Same thing with Kill J. Went 3-0. It was us three actually in the line. So that's another big one. We got a player who was part of a good team in Ottawa. So you bring that in, that instantly adds to your team. Not only is he, he can set you up on offense, he can score, but one thing I like about him is how good he is defensively as a forward. His
Mm-hmm.
positioning, he gets a lot of steals, and then he, fire the puck up ice, send us on a breakaway, or on the forecheck, he'll force a turnover, and it's just that's my favorite part about him. I told him that too, and he's told me from the beginning that he likes to be defensive too. So that's been big for us because forwards obviously aren't always defensive. They want to score and they want to get points.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so it's good to have a forward or two that are good and like to be defensive sometimes too.
Switching gears. Sarnia Sting, they're currently 28, 22, and 4. Y'all are in 7th place with 60 points. Kingston, Kitchener, Niagara, and Erie Otters are all on your tail. Looking forward to week 7. Y'all open up y'all's game against the Kitchener Rangers and then the Barrie Colts after that. What stands out in those two games? Can you just give us a little preview of your two games on Sunday?
Yeah, sure. So those are, yes, obviously tonight. We got first we got Kitchener. Um, should be this is we got Sick in the Head in net. Um,
He's played phenomenal.
which it's I'm glad that he was available tonight.
Mm-hmm.
We got a solid lineup. I mean, I trust all three of our lines and all three of our D pairs really. So, but looking at Kitchener, I mean, they got a 32-point score, a couple 20+ point guys. They got a kind of a question mark on defense in Sean 24, but I was looking at his profile and stuff. He's an Xbox guy.
Mm-hmm.
I did try to pick him up actually from them, but they were in need of defense, and obviously they called him up. So I said, yeah, that's if I was in need of defense, I wouldn't really be trading them either. But so I think that he might be a solid D for them. Definitely, and this is not just because it's my own team either. If I was on any other team looking at this, we have the advantage in net. Just because maybe stats aren't what you go by, but their goalie, I must say though, he's 0-2, but his goals against average and his save percentage are pretty good for a guy who's 0-2, which is kind of odd. I think it was probably like a couple 1-goal games or something like that, but yeah, overall I think it'll be a good game. Anyways, we're like one of their games for Kitchener didn't get entered last week for the stats, so but our records are pretty close. Like they're listed at 27, 22, and 4, and we're 28, 22, and 4. So it's right there. It should be a good game.
In that second game against the Bury Colts, it appears that they're trotting out the owner, CJ87, and a highly touted goalie. If you speak to CJ87 and B Braves 1328 as well, what do you think about that game and your chances of winning that game against Bury at 6:30, 9:30 Eastern time?
I mean, it's gonna be a good game. Obviously, there are a couple spots up on us in the standings, but both teams. If you look up front, both teams have a 40-plus point guy, and both teams have a guy who's over 20 points as well. Defense, we hold the slight edge in defense. They got a little bit of an edge on offense, statistically and according to the LG site, but we might have to roll out either. We're not sure who's going to be in net for us yet. We're figuring that out, so that might be the only kind of question mark for us. But after if we can get a guy that we were trying to get to play in net, I think it's going to be just like the Kitchener game. It's going to be even. It should be a good battle. Start off the week.
Last question here, and I'll let you go and figure out your goalie situation for 6:30. But what game in Week 7 stands out to you like a must win? You'll have to have this game in order to keep up the momentum that Sarnia is surging with right now.
I'm gonna have to say, there's a couple, because you look at it different ways. The Kingston game, they're right near us in the standings. That's tomorrow night, first game of the night. But then we play Ottawa Tuesday, the second game. It's a big game because we see how we match up against the top teams going into playoffs. And the Thursday game against London too. So, and then actually a fourth game, honestly. The first game on Wednesday against Niagara. Couple teams that are close to us in the standings. Couple teams that are near the top, and we'll see how we match up against them. So, probably those 4 games are important in my eyes for us this week.
I do agree. That those are big games, but I really appreciated you coming on the show, Gally. It was great talking to you, and good luck this week.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Just let me know anytime. I'm usually around. So.
All right. I'll see you later.
Yeah.
So that was Gally with the Sarnia Sting. They're really surging right now in the standings with their moves that they've made. It's been really a good week for them, and I'm looking forward to see if they can continue it this week or if they will go back to their old ways. I do have a call in right now. I'm going to try to get him in the call, see if he can come in and say what he has to say. We'll see. And then after this guy, I'm going to get into the news that I have for the Ottawa 67s that Gatineau sent a message to me. I also have news for the London Knights that Mikey D let me know right before I went on air. He invited me to a party and gave me some news for the London Knights as well. But I'm not sure if this guy is going to come. So in the meantime, I'm going to get to Gatineau just because of what happened last time. Who knows? He might not even come into the call. I'm running out of some time right now with only about less than an hour left before the game starts. But this is what Gatineau Freak told me today. He said, in the trades that the 67s made, this is exactly what his message said. I'm just going to read it off what it says. It says, this season has been a hell of a ride. The record shows that we are dominating the league right now in wins, power play, and all sorts of other stats. A lot of people have been asking me why all the moves if the team is going this smoothly, which is a question I had for him as well. He said, I would like to start with the Juicy 31 and Brialt trade for Dynamite Knight and Domster 514. He said, I would like to start by saying thank you to both of those players, leaving for their hard work and contribution to our team. But sometimes good things have to come to an end. And then it goes to explain. He said, I got to know Dynamite Knight from the QCHL a few years back. Same for Domster. We have great chemistry. We find each other on the ice real well. Plus, my AGM, Big B Roy QC, usually gets more points when playing with those two guys. So I had to replace Diecast 420 when she lost to the AHL. And Chris's Big Boy's original line before going AHL. So, yes, I know Diecast was going up this weekend. After that comes the primetime trade of my season, picking up a stay-at-home defenseman like him. He said he's very happy with that trade. That actually was a trade with Hamilton. He traded HJ and two-way hockey to Hamilton for primetime. So just to give you a little background on the trade that he's talking about with primetime. But he says that he's so happy with this trade. But I have to say I lost two great guys in two-way hockey. He said he's a great player with a great vision of the game. HJHF 14 is a great player too. Good team guy, takes picks for the team, helps out, good vision of the game. They will be missed, but you have to pay to get a top D man, and that's what they did. He said so. Basically, what he's saying there is, he views primetime as a top defenseman in this league, one of the best, and he had to get trade two of his great players in order to get a need that he thought that the Ottawa 67s needed. He says the other trade is the Dad's Devil trade to Hamilton for two goalies that cannot really get their chance to play. The reasoning is simple. Certain guys just don't fit in. We were short on goalies, not much goalies available. So we took a chance. That's about it. Dad's Devil, just not the style we play with. So Dad's Devil did not gel well with Ottawa 67s, which led to the trade because they needed goalies because goalies are at a premium. And he said that he wishes them luck with the Bulldogs. Furthermore, the NHL God 90 trade was just a gamble. The two TC guys wanted to play more, so I traded them. I had to send down Grosbeer 26. He has difficulties playing a team aspect of the game. He hogs the puck, annoyed the crap out of me, so that's why Grosbeer is on waivers. He is not a team guy. That's basically the reason behind everything. Let me know if this is okay before you go on the show. I'll be listening too. He said, I forgot to mention that in the primetime deal, his plus 19 rating helped a lot. We have also had our share of drama in the team also at certain points in the season, but I won't name names or anything. It was just very stressful and not fun to deal with, but we got out of it pretty well. I would like to wish all owners, GMs, AGMs, and the CHL a great playoff run and a great run at the Cup. Go 67s, go. So that was a little bit of insight. If you're ever wondering, if you've noticed, like I noticed, all the trades that the 67s were making going into this week, the 7th week, with only 2 weeks to go before playoffs, they're riding high. The big question going into week 7 is will they pay off for the 67s? Will they still be the dominant 19 game in a row winning streak team that they have been, or will these trades not go the 67's way? I think this is a pivotal moment in the season that we're all going to look back to when it's all over in the off season, when we do our recap of the year. This is the moment we're going to look back at. If the Ottawa 67s do not win, the Cup, if they do not win, we're going to look back at these trades and we're going to really dissect them all on whether it hurt or helped the 67s. It can go both ways, really. But those trades were really interesting to me. But I have to tip my cap to Gatineau to having the balls to make the moves that he felt like he needed to make the 67s even better, even if it means that they might lose talent and not be the 67s of late. So it's really wide open, because if you look at Hamilton, the Bulldogs have made a lot of moves as well to step their game up. So they're a team to watch as well, not only because, it's not because I'm on them. It's literally because they've made a lot of moves. So it's going to be the same way for Hamilton. Hamilton is only 5 games up on the 9th place team. We're going to look back at this time if they take the league over and dominate. We're going to look at all the moves that they made for Dad's Devil, the goalies that they've traded for, HJHF, two-way hockey. We're going to look back at these trades and say that was a difference that got Hamilton over the hump, or we're going to look that they never gelled, and that is why that the Hamilton Bulldogs faltered. It's going to be the same way for the Bulldogs. The short news going into week 7 as well for London. I've been banging them pretty hard for that third line. The first line, second line, and goalies have been magnificent for the London Knights. So Mikey D read my power rankings and he watched my show as well. And he said that honestly, I felt like he agreed with me that the third line is really slacking. Coming into this week 7, and I think it's the one point of London Knights that really has to get better in order to succeed in the playoffs. So he got with me in a party and he said, that basically he agreed that the line has been weak ever since he lost his 2 line mates. I believe he said to the AHL. So the line that the London Knights will be trotting out, if it's not their first line or second line, this is the line that the Knights feel comfortable with. They're moving Doggy Bag out. Mikey D will still stay in that line. The person taking Doggy Bag's spot at center will be Shanista for the London Knights, as well as Ultimate Gamer has been brought up from the training camp to replace Welch at the winger spot to be line mates with Mikey D to see if that can gel that line together and be successful, because they do have a lot of big games coming up that they're playing. I know I can remember 2 off the top of my head that he said that this third line is going to be playing against. They're going to be playing against Sarnia and Oshawa. I cannot remember the third game that they said that they would be playing in, but against Oshawa and against Sarnia, those are 2 big games. He said the reason for that line getting shaken up and what brought those moves on was he said that there was no chemistry on the Knights' third line. So that is something to keep an eye out for coming into this week 7. Again, I want to remind everybody that is watching, if you want to get on the show, just give me an email and a PM and you can get on and you can say something that's relevant to week 7 or the playoffs. That's kind of the topic in Hockey Night in LG. Nothing in the past. We're just going to the forward. So that's something that you should look out for with the Knights. Can you hear me, Dragon Slayer?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, so this is my first caller. So who do you play for, and what do you have to say?
I play for the Sarnia Sting. I got traded here a few days ago from the Flint Firebirds.
Okay.
And part of the package that Gally was talking about, if he doesn't get his goalie back, then, it's always nice to have backup options.
Mm-hmm.
And I was wondering if the playoffs started today, looking at the top 8 teams right now, are there any playoff upsets that you think would happen?
Playoff upsets. Getting to the standings real quick. Playoff upsets, if it ended today, I would – a playoff upset for me is honestly I would this is tough because I think doing a quick little bracket, I think the 67s will beat Kingston. Hamilton, I just can't go against Hamilton against Sarnia, but that is going to be probably one of the most interesting series.
For sure.
But I will say – call it an upset or not, I don't expect anything, but if there was one, I would have the North Bay Battalion over the Barrie Colts. In a thrilling fashion. I think it would probably be in
Game
7 or 6. Yeah. So I would say that would be a series that maybe there's an upset, but as far as the first round goes, I don't foresee any upsets, at least in the first round.
Yeah, because 67s are on a roll against the Kingston Frontenacs. Like that's you almost have to pick the 67s no matter what. Like they're 19, or is it? It's 19-0
Yeah, 19 game
currently.
streak.
Game streak, yeah. You almost have to pick them, and then even though Sarnia has been doing well, I mean Hamilton's in a higher spot for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
And
And
Sarnia's just like starting to pick it up like the past few weeks.
with all the trades that have been getting made this week, it's going to be interesting with all the trades
Yeah.
because Hamilton has made a lot of moves. Ottawa's made a lot of moves. So if it doesn't pan out, we might see somebody that you never expected to see win the cup at the end.
Yeah.
Because if I went off of trades I've already seen and seen them work, because Hamilton is a question mark right now with all the moves they made, and Ottawa is for sure a question mark now. I would have to go with Sarnia because Sarnia is the hottest team right now with the trades that they have made. Those are for sure trades that have panned out for Sarnia. Right now, the top two teams in the league right now is a question mark. And until I'm sure he's watching, Mikey D, I'm sure he's watching right now. And until that third line can get good for London, I cannot go with London. My heart can't go with London until I can see depth across all three lines. So
I don't know. I feel like with the tight playoff race, it's really interesting to see most teams, like close in the standings other than, the 67s. They're pretty much like guaranteed first. But it's interesting because that really kind of shows like really any team has a shot at going deep into the playoffs just because, they're all close in the standings. If you lose if you have a losing week and then a team say like Sarnia or Kingston has like a 9-0 week, then you're all the way back in like 7th or 8th, and that team that just had a great week, they're up in like 3rd or 4th.
Yep, and to go further in that is, Hamilton Bulldogs in second place is only 5.5 games up on 9th. So that's how close it is right now. Because if the trades don't work out for Hamilton or anything down the list, for Barrie, the same goes for Barrie, North Bay, Oshawa. Because I truly think if the Oshawa's goalie situation doesn't get worked out, they could be bounced, because it is so close. One bad week will set you back.
Because most of the teams, like most teams in the playoff picture right now, they have a need that, it'll really help them in the long run. Every team needs like a certain, kind of player to go deep in the playoffs.
Yep.
And that's why all the trades have been happening, teams picking up goalies, defensemen, just stuff like that. Just trying to acquire players and positions that will help you out.
Yeah, I do agree. But I appreciate your question.
No problem.
And if you do play tonight for 6:30, I know Gally's looking for a goalie. Good luck.
No problem. Thanks.
Mm-hmm. So that's kind of how I envisioned, that's kind of like an example of how I envisioned a caller going. I haven't had really much traffic going for the callers. So I'm not too sure if I'm going to keep doing the show because that was kind of the theory of the show. But with only having one caller, it might just be pointless to do this show. But looking at the standing, or actually, do not want to do that. Games of the day for me. Looking at the games of the day, honestly, I'm looking at this Ottawa 67s Kitchener game at 6:30. Kitchener needs the points, and does the Ottawa 67s recover from their trades? Are they still the 67s, or will they falter because they have Dynamite Knight at left wing, has not played a game for the 67s, and Domster as well, who is registering no record at all. And they have a goalie who has not registered no game, and Ike Crash Bikes. So that's 3 players right now that are brand new to the 67s. They are not registering no games played or anything for the 67s. So they're making their debut tonight against Kitchener. And, you know, so far, Ottawa is 3-0 against Kitchener this year. So does Ottawa – that just goes back. Does Ottawa, do they answer the call or not? Another game to watch. We're down 100 games to catch a fire. Birthday Machine. You know, I have to watch Hunger Games Catch a Fire again because I don't think I can have a 2-hour scene by scene breakdown of it, to be honest with you. But another game to watch for me is the Barrie Colts versus the Hamilton Bulldogs. The Hamilton Bulldogs are trotting out Firm Handshake, Kitty King, Top Gun Killer, MVH, and Wolfric 99, which is making his return from the AHL to come back to the Hamilton Bulldogs. And one of the top goalies in the league, biased or not, his stats will speak for themselves. Matt is 26 in net against a hot Barrie Colts team. That's, you know, I talked to CJD7 the other night, and, you know, she knew this was going to be a big game. So what do you know? They tried out Bottle Man at left wing, 8-0 record, 8 games played, 25 points, 5 goals, 20 assists. They're trotting out an on fire centerman. He's 2-0, 2 games played, 6 points, 3 goals, 3 assists. Big Freeze, 10-6 record, 16 games played, 40 points, 23 goals, 17 assists. Munchkin Y 1980, 17 points as a left D with a plus minus of 2. And GM got to be Rufus. I'm not really going to get into his stats because they're not that great. But and then B Braves 1328, somebody that CJ87 really touted about being one of the most underrated goalies in this league. That is going to be a fantastic match to watch. I will be watching. I might even commentate it. I'm thinking about that right now because I didn't think when I did it for Niagara, it didn't go too choppy. But I definitely be watching that. There's going to be a stream up for sure because Madden streams every game. Make sure you get out to watch that game. That is going to be a fantastic game. I'm not going to give my prediction on that game. I'm kind of like Kirk Herbstreit on college football. You know, if I have a dog in the fight, I can't really say too much about it. Teams to watch for this week are Barrie Colts. They have a big week ahead of them. Kingston Frontenacs has a big week ahead of them. It's going to be a grind for them. They play a lot of good teams this week. Getting into Kingston, getting into this week is, you know, they got Niagara tonight. They're right on each other's heels. Hopefully Niagara Ice Dogs can make me look smart because I do have them going to the playoffs. And then Oshawa Generals, which Oshawa, that was another thing. I don't mean to get off here, but Oshawa Generals is another thing that I messaged Rambo yesterday and I said, situation in Oshawa, have the moves made you confident in it? And his reply to me was, yeah. Before I get into his message, I want to get into the background of why I asked him this. I've done a lot of research on Oshawa, you know, for my power rankings and my previous shows. And, you know, Oshawa Generals is a team. They put up a lot of points. Their skaters are magnificent. They play really well. But the goalies have been horrendous for Oshawa this year. And I think that's the one step that's holding Oshawa back is that goalie spot. So I did message Rambo and I said, have the moves made you confident in it? And he said, yeah, Cougars hockey is a guy we've had before. Very solid goalie. He should be AHL, but he hasn't had enough exposure. And Sly Clan is a good goalie on a bad team, and his stats show it. Flint has like the second highest goals against on the year, and this guy's goal against is 3.5. Scoring was never our problem. The defense wasn't an issue. Too many times have the goalies knocked us out of the games early. For a while, we were able to continue winning, but in a long season, it will catch up with you, and he is correct. So that is a team I'm really excited to watch this week to see if the changes in goalie can get them over that hump, because right now they're sitting in sixth place with 61 points. To put this in perspective, the Kitchener Rangers are ninth with 58. They are only a game and a half up on the ninth place team. So if they cannot get that goalie situation worked out, they will be in trouble. But I think that basically wraps up Hockey Night NLG. I hope you liked it. I don't think I'm going to do another one of these, just because I just did not get enough. I did not get enough call-ins, and that's what this show is supposed to be about. It's supposed to be interactive with the people who are watching it, and I just did not get that. I had one call in, so I don't think I'll be doing this next week. However, it was really fun to do today. I appreciate you stepping in and seeing Hockey Night in LG. I hope you enjoy the week. Good luck to all teams. If you're the Windsor Spitfires, Petersboro Pete, or give me a second here, or the Guelph Storm, I feel bad for you because I am in those games. So I just had to say that. You probably won't score, but it's okay, because really Sarnia has really been the only successful team against me, I'm just kidding. But seriously, though, good luck to all teams out there, especially good luck to the 8th, 9th, 10th, and 11th players. Or 8th, 9th, 10th, and 11th teams. This should be a fantastic week. A lot of drama going around with Hamilton's moves, Otto's moves, and just how tight the race is. I'm looking forward to seeing how this will shake up. Next week, I will be posting, or I might just add it in the talk show, the LGCHLPSN this week on Friday, about my playoff prediction. I will put a playoff predictor out there and give you my spin on the playoff, what the bracket will look like when it all shakes out in week 8. Additionally, somebody gave me this idea in a party, and I like it. I might try to get this worked out. I'm going to see something here. It's kind of like March Madness, okay? It's going to be like March Madness. I have to get the template and everything and work it out in my head, but it's going to be like March Madness. I'm going to post something on the forums. It's going to have probably an Excel spreadsheet hyperlinked in it. It's going to have the bracket after week 8. It's going to have the brackets of each team, and you'll be able to move those teams up and then submit them back to me via PM or email. I'm not too sure. I'm going to work out the details while I have nothing to do today. And it's going to be like March Madness. It's going to be a playoff bracket. In fact, I'm not sure if I'm able to do it. I'm looking at Birthday Machine right now. He's on the chat box, so correct me if I cannot do this. But if you win, if you get every team right on your bracket, I will give the winner on PayPal $20. The winner, if you get the bracket completely right, just like March Madness, I don't have $1 million to give somebody, but I'll give $20 via PayPal to the person who gets the playoff bracket correct. So keep an eye out. Week 8, I will post it Excel spreadsheet style more than likely because it seems like the most easiest in my head. And then you can just move the teams along, and I will reiterate, the person who gets the bracket right, not the closest, but the person who gets it right, I will send them $20 via PayPal for the winner of my playoff madness, if you will, for the LGCHL. So the $20 goes to the winner. So good luck to you guys, and thanks for tuning in. I appreciate it. I'm looking in the chat. Evidently, evidently this show, I guess people don't want me to give up on it, so I'll give it one more chance on Sunday to see if I can get some more activity, some more interaction from people. It's 5:11 now. Games are starting in 29 minutes. Good luck to all you guys, and keep a lookout for that bracket. $20 goes to the winner. Go Bulldogs.